when I can't fight the tears and the pain is severe, when the questions outnumber the answers, and we're all left to wonder what's happening here. Too soon a departure for you. Some of us can't figure out what to do, and in the meantime, I'll look to heaven for you. If there's one thing I learned from being your friend, is that life may be short, but the music don't end. And if life is music and music is song, I will keep singing, I'm gonna keep keeping on. In the meantime, I'll look to heaven for you. I made this promise to you. I remember the things that you taught me to do. I'll keep writing music, I promise you that. And I'll do my best to get out of B flat. But this one we started together. Now I'm on my own, so I'll finish alone. And in the meantime, I'll look to heaven for you. If there's one thing I learned from being your friend, is that life may be short, but the music don't end. And if our life is music and music is song, I will keep singing, I'll keep keeping on. And in the meantime, I'll look to heaven for you. If there's one thing I learned from being your friend, is that life may be short, but the music don't end. And if our life is music and music is song, I will keep singing, I'll keep keeping on. In the meantime, I'll look to heaven for you. In the meantime, I'll look to heaven for you.
Good evening, and welcome to A Grieving Mother's Journey, Lakeland, where we air every Sunday from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. with open mic every third Sunday from 6:20 to 6:50 p.m. We bring grieving mothers together to share, trust, and bond with one another, and to spread awareness of the pain that is caused when others choose to take a life by violence, and the various struggles we face on a daily basis just to make it through the day. I hope that this will make those that are on that horrible path think twice and turn their lives around. Welcome. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to a quick video of with a Grieving Mother's Journey. I am actually on here to talk about the amazing justice that my son Malik received, as well as Christian. And let me turn this down. Sorry about that. Um, so anyway, I'm on here, y'all. Um, it's been a long, long road. 3 years and 3 months that my family and I have been going through this horrific tragedy, double homicide. Um, my son and his childhood friend, Christian. For those of you that don't know, I am streaming on my Facebook page, YouTube, as well as the new platform, Twitch. So for those of you that are newly joining and don't really know, my family and I have been going through this for 3 years and 3 months. My son, alongside his childhood friend, was murdered in our home May 15th, 2022. 3 people involved, 1 adult, 2 juveniles. So it's been a long road. The adult and 1 of the juveniles have already been sentenced. But this last one was a little bit of a rough road. It was rescheduled 4 times. But yesterday marked the last time. So it's finally, that part is finally over. And we can begin to get on our healing journey at this point. We have a long way to go still. But, you know, the chapter of the book is never going to be closed, but we can continue to turn the page. I just want to give a big shout out before I get into all of it to those that were there from day one. I mean, pretty much every court appearance, just supporting, you know, me or my kids throughout this whole episode. No judgment, just being there, right? Not saying the wrong things like that. Just being there for us. And they were amazing. So I have to give them their props. And of course, family is already automatically included. And this being there is not just being there physically, but when I'm not allowed during the time, it's been text messages, phone calls, visits, showing up at vigils, things like that. All of those things matter to a grieving mom and siblings, right? So I got to give a big shout out to a few. Tina, aka Tina Marie on Facebook. Quilla Booker, aka Quilla on Facebook. Ashley Burton, Renee Stokes, Anthony Wooten. You know, even though he couldn't be there for everything, he took the time out of his day to come on board and just kind of talk about his experience with my son, which meant a lot. Brandon Collier, he did the same. They will forever ever be true friends of my son Malik. I don't want to forget anybody, but of course, family counts. My nephew Tommy has been there in more ways than one. My sister, Deborah Jean, has been there when I needed someone to talk to by phone. She lives far away, so, of course she couldn't, but she did manage to come to the services, and she continues to be there for me and my family. Dr. Adia, she took time out of her day to come on, and a couple of times actually, and do the podcast. And that podcast of forgiveness was like, I can't describe it. It's been kind of a part of my life since then, and you'll see why as I talk about this, later on. Um, Millie Mill, Camille, she's appeared I don't know how many times. Always sending text messages, posting, things like that, just supporting. Support is not always actually being there in the physical, because it's not always possible for everybody. And me and my family, we understand that. But there's other ways to be there. And all of it is appreciated. So I just wanted to put that out there and let everybody know, that we do see you. We do appreciate it. Like I said, it's been an excruciating journey. And we do have some time. I got to give a big shout out to my mamacita, Miss Julissa. um, Workaholic, taking care of her business. I get it. But she never failed, if she couldn't be there, to send a text message or a phone call to let us know that she's there with us in spirit. She thinks about us, and she loves her poppy, who is Malik. Tanza, Joan. Tanza always manages to send a shout out, to view the podcast when she can, to send encouraging words. We appreciate you for that. And my best friend in the whole wide world, Joan, has been there. Although she lives a little ways away. Like, I just can't explain. She's been there, a lot of it by phone. We've been best friends for over 20 years, maybe 30 at this point. But she's just always there. And, things like that mean so much to a grieving family. Kind of, when you go through something like this, you kind of, who's there and who's not. I'm going to keep it 100. I'm going to keep it a buck, whatever you want to call it. If your feelings are hurt, then it's probably, something you did do. But I'm not here to throw shade or anything, but I am going to give props to those that rode that wave with me and my family from day one. You deserve the props, and I'm giving it to you. So I hope I didn't leave anybody out, but I did need to just put that out there. So a couple of things before I get into it. For Grieving Mother's Journey, we do have a podcast coming up Sunday, August 24th from 6 to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's Gone But Not Forgotten. So please chime in for that. This is our time to give our angels props, to be their voice. So we're going to kind of, just talk about our angels. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to talk about how they died or anything like that. It's just a time to uplift them, let the world know who they were. Because even though it's finally this journey with the convictions and all that is finally over, I'm not going to stop talking about my son. I'm not going to stop speaking his name, because he's going to forever live in our hearts. And he was a good soul. So this is your opportunity. All is welcome, to just kind of tell the world about your angels. So please join us for that. And again, I know I've spoken about it a few times. My platform is a no judgment, no pressure zone. You have options to come on. If you are not ready to speak and show your face, it's okay. We have options. You can call in and use the avatar feature and still speak about your angel. You can choose to come on the platform. Like I'm live here, you would be live as well. You can do that. Or you can just simply leave some comments. And I have a phone number. It's scrolling at the bottom. You can just call in. So you have options. I try to make everybody comfortable on their journey. And those are the options that you have. So I hope that everybody joins in for that. And just we would love to hear how amazing your angel was. That will be streaming on my personal page as well as my YouTube page and now on Twitch. If you don't have the link, I have posted it in the comment so that you can go there and subscribe. Last but not least, I do have a new podcast coming out. It's not replacing this. This is an additional podcast, and it's called Low Key Loud Podcast. Not just Low Key Loud. There's a lot of Low Key Louds out there, but mine is Low Key Loud Podcast. However, just kind of like with this one when I started over a year ago, you have to have a minimum of 50 subscribers to actually stream live on the YouTube page. And then with Facebook, of course, you have to have, I think, a minimum of 100 followers. So when I do the first podcast for Low Key Loud podcast, it will be streaming only on my personal page, but I will upload it onto the Low Key Loud podcast page on YouTube. And I will put it into the Low Key Loud podcast on Facebook. So you won't be able to interact loud unless you're a friend on my page. I'll see if there's a way with this program that I can make that actual, public so that you can still interact. But if you haven't subscribed on my Facebook page or the YouTube page for Low Key Loud podcast, please do so that you can join in on the fun. Again, I'll say this time and time again, I don't do any of this for money. It's free of charge. So I would love it if you would subscribe. And if you haven't subscribed to A Grieving Mother's Journey, there's still room. Head on over there, subscribe to that so you can, be notified when we're going to go live, so forth and so on. So I'm trying to get back into the swing of things. And on our first episode with Low Key Loud, we are going to be touching the first 30 minutes on reality TV shenanigans. And we're going to be talking about Jackie Christie and her daughter Chantel. Was she wrong or nah? There's a lot of different opinions on that. I think it's going to be kind of fun to talk about it. So I'd love to hear your take on it. So come on in when we do that and call us and leave a comment, join the platform, whatever you decide to do, and kind of participate in that conversation. Now, the second half is going to be, there's going to be two special guests, Mocha and Diamond. They have both written novels that are published. And I'm not going to tell any about it. Now, if one of them decide they want to call in tonight, give you a little tidbit about it, please do. But they're going to be talking about their books and where you can purchase it and so forth and so on. So we have a lot of other episodes we're going to do with that. That's just our first one. So I'll put that out there. We are looking for guests on that. So feel free to let me know. And if you want to participate in that. So basically, I'm celebrating. So I'm going to have my brandy. Justice for Malik and Christian. For those of you that don't know the story, you can head on over to YouTube. All of the episodes from beginning to end are uploaded there for you to view, so you can kind of, fill yourself in so you're not behind and you'll kind of understand what this episode is about. I will talk about some of it, but if you want to get the full version of it, head on over. You can watch it anytime you're ready, pause it, come back to it, however you're free to view it in the comfort of your own home and kind of be caught up to date. So briefly, May 15th, 2022, my son, my 23-year-old son, and his 23-year-old friend was murdered in our home. There was also an attempted murder involved with that Thankfully, the third person got away. Otherwise, it would have been a triple homicide. It involved 3 people, one adult who was part of a gang, 2 juveniles who wanted to be in a gang. So that's how that all came about. That was their work to kill my son. It was on an assumption that my son was part of another gang. It was determined in court it wasn't, of course. But yeah, this adult decided, yeah, do this. Epic fail. So the justice that we received, and let me tell you, it's really not heard of to have 3 people in a double homicide be caught and charged and indicted within 4 months. I have to give a big shout out to the Commonwealth, to the detective, to my son, and our Maker, Almighty God, because those hands were all in it from beginning to end. And I know this because, like I said, the way they were all caught, boom, 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 the justice that came with it, was amazing. There were no flaws. It just happened. Boom, boom, boom. So for those of you that don't know, the adult that was the actual member of the gang received, I believe it was 75 years in prison. This is all in the state of Virginia. No death penalty, but there's no parole either. So he was found guilty by jury, sentenced by jury, and sentenced by judge. So I believe, I want to say 70 or 75 years. Some were suspended, so he would be on a lifetime of probation. However, and he was pretty much the same age as my son. Maybe a year, 2 years stretching it, older than my son. So this is a young person. I'm not even going to call him a man. This was a young person that felt that it was okay to recruit 2 juveniles at the time. They're no longer juveniles, but to recruit 2 juveniles at the age of 15 and 16 to do his dirty work. Well, God said, that's not happening. You're not going to get away with that. And so basically, he's going to do 60 years in prison for this heinous crime that he orchestrated. Didn't even have the balls to do it himself. So that was the first takedown. He has since filed an appeal. Good luck with that. My family and I have always had God on our side. And like I said, I truly believe that my son had his hands all in this. So he's going to just do his time and spend the rest of his life in prison, basically. By the time he get, this charge is over, he'd be probably in his 70s, maybe. But he has other charges, not even connected with this. So he's coming home. Now, the second juvenile, which most of you that have been following me, you probably already know, justice was served with that. He received a total of 120 years, 60 for each body. And of course, I believe total of 20 and 20 was suspended, but he will do 40 years, no parole. he will do 40 years. And then when he gets out, probation the rest of his life. So the most recent one yesterday was the other juvenile. The one that, excuse me, the one that has a conscience. And what I say moving forward is not excusing what he did. But just so you guys know, I am trying to work on myself and trying to work on forgiveness. I have a long way to go, but hey, at least I'm trying, right? And if any of you watched the podcast about forgiveness with Dr. Thea, you'll understand where I'm going with this. Forgiving somebody does not excuse what they did. You're basically taking that debt that you don't own and you're giving it back. And you're allowing God to deal with that individual to settle that debt, right? Vengeance is mine, saith the Lord, right? Now, don't get me wrong. Listen, the way my son died and Christian died and things like that, trust me, I was going through it. And I wanted each and every one of them to suffer 10 times worse than what my son suffered and Christian suffered. But as time went on, I realized that that's for God to handle. And I believe he's going to handle that. How he handles it, that's not my concern as of today, but I know it's going to be handled. That doesn't mean that I'm wishing death on any of them. For me, I think it would be more excruciating to suffer every day in jail, to have to watch your back every day in jail, to have nightmares every day in jail, to see my son's face and Christian's face every day in jail, to think about what you did every day in jail. I think that's more torturous than anything else. Now, I kind of want to know your thoughts on this next segment that I'm going to speak on. Because there's, everybody kind of thinks differently, and that's okay. Everybody is not at the same stage of grief, and that's okay. In no way is it, wrong or right? But when I tell you in that courtroom, that judge we had was not playing. He was not playing. And when I say he was on point, this man literally did his homework. And to give you a little backstory on that, so you'll understand why I say that, is because remember when I said that the trial had been postponed like 4 times. So the last time was supposed to be, I believe it was April 13th. That was supposed to be the time he was sentenced. We had a judge that was getting ready to retire. One of those that gave 2 F's about how we felt, or anything for that matter. There was an issue with the clerk's office, paperwork not getting to him. This man had no clue about this case. No clue. And the fact that the defense attorney was going to ask for 6 years was insane. So it was scary. So that judge basically stated, hey, we're not moving forward today. It's not happening. He literally said, this is not happening today. Now, we were all livid. Keep in mind, it's been over 3 years. We had already been through a trial. We had already been through a sentencing. We were trying to move past this. And it's already been over 3 years. So we were all pretty upset. But we were reminded that even though that's something that we didn't want to hear, it was a good thing. Because I believe if everything had gone right, and this is again what I say, when Malik had there, they were like, oh no, this is not happening today. I truly believe that if this judge had had everything he needed and we moved forward with the case, this juvenile would have had little to nothing if not let go. So at the time, I wasn't thinking about that, but now I'm glad because God had other plans. He was like, no, we can't do this today because the outcome is not going to be very good. So we ended up with a judge that literally, he knew when I say everything, he knew. It was, I kind of felt like I was sitting in the trial again. That's how much knowledge he had about this case. And he wasn't playing. And if it wasn't for the defense and the Commonwealth agreeing that the guidelines were sufficient, this kid would have got life. He would have got life. This judge was ready. This judge was disgusted by what he read. You could even see, like he the hurt, like he felt our pain. I kind of wish that he was on the adults case, the Perkins case, because I can guarantee you, if he was, it wouldn't be 70 years; it'd be life. But I'm okay with it because even with the 70 years and all the other charges he's got attached to that, he's not coming out. So he basically got life without getting life, if that makes sense. So I'm okay with that. So before I go into my feelings on this, I see some comments. I'm going to go ahead and read that. Hey. Wow. Thank you, guys. I'm going to start with Millie Mill. First a comment. She said, yes, with the music, I'll look to heaven for you. For those of you that, don't really know my family, the music that was playing in the beginning, that is a song, Rights to my niece, Yamika Peterson Kane. She wrote that. It's one of hers. She has rights to it and allowed me to use it for my podcast. She sang this song at my son's funeral services, so it means a lot to me. Listen to the words next time. Michelle Anthony, what's up, my childhood friend? You're awesome. I miss you, girl. Thank you for joining. She says, I love the way you put that, able to turn the page. Thank you, girl. Thank you. I miss you so much. And I appreciate you coming on and supporting. You don't know how much. I appreciate you, Michelle. Then here go Millie Mill again. Always and forever. I love y'all so much. God is good. I'm so happy justice is served. Leak land for life. Yes. Leak land. Don't y'all forget that. Leak land. Okay, my man, Rick Fair, what is up? Haven't talked to you in ages. I miss you. I appreciate your support. Thank you for coming on and leaving a comment. He said, hello, that's great. What you're doing, one day at a time. Love you always. Love you to the moon and back, Ricky. Always. We locked in forever. Thank you so much. And Brandon, hey, so Brandon, he commented he's one of those that I call my son's real friend. And again, for those of you that are just tuning in or on Twitch, you don't really know the story, please, when you get a moment, just go to the YouTube and kind of review some of the videos. It'll make more sense to you while we're talking about these things. But yes, Brandon, he was one of my friends, one of my son's very good friends, and a true friend. And he was there for Malik, and he stepped up when I did the tribute, the 3-day tribute to my son. And he actually came all the way to the studio and was on and spoke about some beautiful memories and made us all smile and laugh and just, enjoy his story. So thank you for that, Brandon. I appreciate it. Rick Fair, love you always. Love you always. Lisa, another childhood friend. How you doing, Miss Lady? Thank you for joining. I appreciate you, and I thank you for commenting. But Lisa says, Donna, I am very happy for you and your family. Thank you so much. That means a lot. We've been through so much, and it's been such a long time. Good grief. So thank you. Thank you for supporting. So that's it for the comments right now. So I'm gonna need some opinions, and no opinion is right or wrong. Okay, this is just me, what I'm dealing with mentally, where I'm trying to go. So how anyone else feels, I promise you it's okay, and I understand. But so like I said, I'm learning to forgive. Now, I'll tell you, the adult and the other one, I got a long way to go for that. I'm just, but I'm trying. But I did learn today, not today, but, sitting in court yesterday, I actually realized that there was a lot that I missed. Not because I wasn't there. I was there physically, but I realized mentally I was not there. Because the judge actually stated a few things in the transcript. And I was like, what? So I realized that, wow, I missed a lot. There was only one time that I actually had to leave the courtroom. And that's when the juvenile that was sentenced yesterday was on the stand and stated that after he and the other juvenile shot my son and left, he could hear my son screaming and moaning and crying. He went back in my home and he shot my son again. Now, was that the bullet that actually ended my son's life? Could he have survived if this kid didn't do that? We don't know. But for you to be on the stand and call Malik your friend, and to do that, the math's not mathing, right? So, and there were just things that came up, and I'm like, wow, I guess even like with the funeral, I'm there in the physical, but apparently I wasn't there mentally because I missed a lot. I missed a lot. But there's a way for me to rectify that by being able to view the transcript, which I'm going to do. For me, that'll be the major closure, reading from top to bottom to really understand what happened. Because a couple of things that he mentioned in the court yesterday, the judge, I was like, wow, okay, so I thought it happened this way, but no, it happened that way. And it's nothing that wasn't already said in court. I just wasn't hearing it during the trial. So there's one thing that I found out was that this kid, he got caught. He had the gun and he brought it to school, the same gun he killed my son and Christian with. He brought it to school a couple days later. That's how he got caught. But apparently he was in the bathroom in the stall with the gun for like so long. Another student was like, hey, you coming out of there? You've been in there for a minute. So this kid opened the door and kind of showed the gun. So that's when that student went and told. But this kid stayed in the stall with this gun. So I'm thinking he brought to school and threatened another kid. Well, I was totally wrong about that. He did bring the gun to school. So now with that happening, it makes me think of two things. I personally think that this kid has a conscience. Okay. I'm not excusing what he did, but I think he had a conscience, because I think one of two things was going on. Either he was scared out of his mind and contemplating, okay, how do I tell? How do I, let somebody know this is what happened? Or he could have been contemplating suicide. So with that, that's one thing that tells me he has a conscience. And again, I'm going to keep reiterating, I am not excusing what he did, right? But the other thing is the fact that this kid, he basically put his life on the line by snitching on a Bloods member. Again, I get it. But by doing that, I think it helped a lot with this case. Now, I'm not saying, and even the Commonwealth got up and he agreed, and he said, yeah, with his help, so forth and so on. But what he did also say is it wouldn't have closed the case if he didn't get up there. I just think it would have made their job a little harder. They had tons of evidence. So I don't think that this case would have been dropped, but I do think it would have went a different way. And I don't think that my son and Christian would have received the justice that they got. Meaning all three indicted, convicted, in jail, serving massive time. So for me, that is the justice that I need, regardless of how it was given. That's what I needed. And I think God and my son knew that. So that's the second point. The other thing is this kid, even though he was offered a plea, he didn't want the plea. His thing was, you know what? I'm going to take responsibility. I don't want to plea. I'm going to take, what comes my way. Again, not excusing what he did, but he was more of a man when it came to this case than the other juvenile and the adult, because the adult tried to completely get away with it and he wanted the two juveniles to take the blame. Who does that? Right? The other juvenile, not the one from yesterday, he also agreed to everything, but got up on the stand and tried to make a complete ass out of the Commonwealth. Okay, yeah, he didn't snitch, but still went to jail. You're still doing basically the same time. So back to what I was saying about, excuse me, I don't know why I keep coughing. The last juvenile. There's a difference between the two families. One family is not my son. No way. He didn't do that. No way. And he was hidden out for 4 months before he got caught. Protecting a murderer. The other family, it's like, oh my God, I'm sorry. He wasn't raised like that. I don't know if he did it, but if he did, he's gonna have to take responsibility. Ding, 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 ding. So you have two different juveniles from two different backgrounds, one taking responsibility and the other one not. So that's another reason. So I know I said this before, and I'm not going to say her name because I don't know if she wants that, and that's okay too. But for somebody to reach out to another family that you barely know, that has no knowledge of whether or not this person's family member even did it, to actually reach out and say, I am so sorry. and to be genuine. You can reach out and say, I'm sorry, because you're looking for a deal, or you're looking for, the family to say, no, that's okay. That was none of that. It was none of that. It was sincere. I'm so sorry. Um, and I have the utmost respect for that person and their family. Because that takes balls to do that. And, like I said, when this person contacted us, the attorneys, they weren't giving this kid's family any information at all. So she had no idea. She was like, I don't know. They won't let me talk to him, this and that. That's how I knew it was genuine and that was real. She wasn't even aware of court dates. Right. So that's how I know it was genuine. And that's how I know that it was real. So that plays a part. The fact that, this kid do that. And of course, we found out when we were going to the court date on August 13th. I'm sorry, July 13th. No, June 13th. Oh my gosh. That the attorney was going to ask for 6 years. Now, this kid's already been in there for 3 years. So if this judge at the time, that thank God ended up not doing the case, it was very possible that because this kid's already done 3 years, that, with them asking for 6, they might have got that. And then with time served, he probably would have only did 2.5 years for 2 bodies. No. And I would have been okay with a little bit of a lesser sentence than what he got because of what he did. But I'm not mad at what he got. And I'm going to pray for this kid because he was the one that stood up. He was the one that told his truth from me, not just a little bit. He told his truth, right? So because of that, protective custody for the remainder of his time is likely. However, when you get to the big boy pen, that's pretty much left up to the warden, right? If these people get a hold of this kid, it's going to be worse than what he gave Malik. For me, I've endured enough. Losing my son was enough. And I don't wish that type of death on that kid. Now, is he going through it mentally? Yes. And I'm okay with that because you need to go through that. You need to deal with that in prison. You need to understand why you're in prison. You need to understand that. But my hopes for this kid is when he does get out, I think he'll be maybe late 40s, early 50s maybe, that he will take this and use that to speak to youngins, tell his story, and hopefully reach another kid that's about to do what he did. If he can do that and stop some kids from doing that, then I've done my job. But it's going to be up to God. Now, if he has, like my sister, her and I were talking earlier, when she said, if he turns his life over to Jesus, which he may already have because he comes from that background, he will be protected and he's going to make it out of there. But I guess that's just something that we'll have to wait and see. But yeah. So my question to you is, am I wrong for, I'm not going to say forgiving because I haven't done that yet, but I am trying, but I'm grateful that he got on that stand. And even though the 6 days we went through was excruciating, I think it would have been way worse if he hadn't, and way longer. And I could be wrong, but that's just my thought. So if anybody wants to, you know, give me a call, the lines are open, make a comment, let me know your thoughts. Um, and we do have a couple more comments. Deborah, my sister, she said, "Here for you, love you." Thank you, Cynthia. I love you too. And David, hey David, he says, "What up? How are you?" Hey David. I'm making it day at a time, getting through it the best way that me and the family can. Again, my condolences to your mom. I hope you're doing well. And like I told you before, you can always reach out. But I hope all is well with you and your brothers and the family. I know I know about loss, already. So I'm here for you. But yeah, so yeah, I'm just thinking like, and it's really odd because with this kid, I don't want him to have his life ended worse than the way my son's life was ended. But the other two, I could care less. I know it's crazy. I'm working on me. I'm only human. I've been through a lot. My son was taken at such a young age, and the disrespect to do that in my home, in his home. You did it in our home. That so disrespectful. A person's home should be their safe place, right? A place where you can relax and enjoy and just feel safe. And he's in his home with people he thought were friends, and you just did that. You just did that. You took 2 lives in that home, and you tried to take another one. This could have been a triple homicide. But the judge was not having it. He was not having it. He reminded him and basically stated, "Hey, I understand that Mr. Perkins was the whole mastermind behind this." He said, "But you carried it out. You thought things through. You shot Christian in the head. And then when the other person that got away, I'm not going to say his name, shut the door, you and the other person, Keen, decided you were going to shoot through the door. And when you did that, Christian ended up with 4 more bullets in his body. And you killed my son." And then the judge brought up the fact that you left and you heard that and you came back and did it again. He was so disgusted with that. And hey, I don't blame him. But I did, again, I felt a little bit for the family having to sit there and listen to the judge talk to their son or whatever like that. But at the same time, during the whole trial and even the other sentencings that were set up, none of his family was there. They weren't there. But you come to the sentencing yesterday, and then at the end, instead of quietly saying as he's walking out, "Hey, I love you, call me," right? You want to be loud so everybody can hear. I'm sorry. That was disrespectful. We know you love him, because if the shoe on the other foot, regardless of what any of my kids, I'm still gonna love you. Doesn't mean that you should be excused from what you did. But to just blatantly be out loud like that in a courtroom, to me, that was kind of disrespectful. So anyway, So we do have Millie Mills. She did respond to the question I had. And she says, "You are not wrong, Auntie. They got what they deserve. You don't get to take lives away and then want to show compassion. It's unfortunate he is sorry. But in prison, you have to be ready. Can I get an amen?" And they better be ready because the gangs in there don't play. No sympathy from me because you guys hurt every single day, meaning me and my family. So they better be ready and pop all that ish in there and see what happens. Yeah, I love you, girl. But this is what I want. I want real. I want raw, right? Her feelings on that is not wrong, right? Um, but she's right. You know, prison is different from being on the street. Now, I've never been to prison, but I know those that have. And they would tell you, it's nothing like the street. You could be or pretend you want to be a big boy on the street, but wait till you get behind them walls, boy. It's gonna be a whole different thing that you're gonna have to deal with. Can you handle it? I don't know. I guess time will tell. All right, Vicky. Thank you so much, honey. Love you. So yeah. I just, am I wrong for trying to forgive, or am I wrong for being grateful for what he did? I do have a heart, and it's just kind of funny because Malik was forgiving like that. I mean, that's kind of what got him in this position in the first place. Always seeing the good before the bad in everybody. No matter who you were. If you were good, all you do is say hello, be good to him, or be nice to him. You're his friend now. But he always saw that first, and that was a good trait for him to have. But it was also a trait that caused him to die. Trusting people too much, calling anybody and everybody your friend. I need anyone that's listening. I need you to know what friend really means, because even my mom back in the day, and I'm OG, everybody's not your friend. Me and the family used to tell Malik all the time, everybody is not your friend. Remember that. Especially nowadays. There's so much backstabbing and hating and everything going on. And people have to earn that right to be a friend. You have to earn that. It's not just given away like Malik used to do. But anyway, so I think I've talked a lot, but I did want to get that off my chest. I'm feeling good, but in a weird kind of way. I don't know. Is there any grieving mom out there that's received justice that knows what I'm talking about? Because it's weird. It's not in a bad way. I guess maybe my mind and my body is now really trying to soak everything in and really trying to adjust so that I can move into the next chapter. That could be it. Again, I worry about Antoine. I do. I'm keeping it real. Because of his honesty and what he's going to be facing, life of misery. But, like my sister said, God will protect him if he accepts him and prays about it. And regardless, I'm going to pray for this kid. Because I don't want his blood on my hands. I think I've suffered enough. I just want it to stop. I want all of you young kids out there running around here in 90, 100 degree weather, hoodies and black pants and backpacks. Come on, man. Get your shit together. It doesn't mean that you're up to no good, but that is the perception. Remember that. That is perception. And you are not invincible. Everybody has somebody that's bigger than you. Remember that. You're not invincible. And you need to cut that out before you have a heat stroke. But anyway, thank you all for listening. And I guess I'll just go ahead, and take, what Camille said. And, again, I appreciate you guys listening. And don't forget, this Sunday, A Grieving Mother's Journey, we'll be back with our regular episode, Gone But Not Forgotten, 6 to 7. Please share, spread the word. I believe I went ahead and I put that event out there. Please share it. All is welcome. We'd love to hear stories of your angel. Let's try to keep it upbeat. But hey, if you need to call in and, talk about the sad stuff, guess what? You're welcome to do that, because this is going to be all about keeping our angels' names alive. I don't know about y'all, but no one or nothing is ever going to stop me from speaking about my son. His name will forever live. And then last but not least, don't forget the Low Key Loud podcast. That's going to premiere first episode on, the first episode is going to be next Wednesday, the 27th. That's from 7 to 8. From 7 to 7:30, we're going to have a little Jones session, have a little bit of fun, talk about the reality TV shenanigans, kind of get some pointers on that. And then, of course, the last half, we're going to have our two guests talking about their published novels. So make sure you join in. If you did see the invite on that, share that, let people know. Come on in. Let's have some fun. Join us. Don't forget, please, if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube page, for the Grieving Mother's Journey, please do so. Tell other people to subscribe so that they can view. I put the link in the comments. You can click on that, take you right to it. Just hit subscribe. You're good to go. You can also hit the notify button, if you want to be notified when an upcoming show is coming up. I need all of my Facebook friends and family. Please share and encourage people to subscribe to the Low Key Loud Podcast Facebook page. Or become, follow or be a member, either one. And to also subscribe to the Low Key Loud podcast on YouTube. Hey, Moody, she says, Mama. Hi, sweetie, how are you? Love them so much. Hey, but yeah, please do that, because I can't even do a regular live, never mind with this program, but I can't do the podcast live on either one of those. So, and my personal page is a private page. So I have to do it on there, and then I have to, upload it. So that's a little crazy to me. So if I could get a total of 100 members or followers on the Facebook, Low Key Loud Podcast. And all I need is 50 subscribers on YouTube, Low Key Loud Podcast. Please encourage people to do that, so I can keep it separate and start, doing the podcast on that page. Well, hello, Mr. Todd. It's about time. Beat ass. No. So Todd says, regret is a hell of a lesson to learn. A life for a life in any world. You're right. Shoot, back in the day, Bible even said back in the day, an eye for an eye, right? But we're not in those days anymore. But living a life in prison and thinking about what you did and not being able to sleep, that's good, and that's close enough. Thank you, Sissy. My sister said she subscribed. Thank you, Sissy. I love you. Todd, you sorry. Yeah, you need to bring that tail on here to VA because you getting beat ass. No. I love you though. I love you though. Okay, guys. Well, it is actually 7:02 already. So I'm gonna get off of here. I was hoping to get a little bit more feedback from what you thought about how I felt, but it's okay. I appreciate everyone that's come on and participated. You're amazing. I love y'all. For anyone that's new, please come back and join us. We do have a lot of fun with the Grieving Mother's Journey, but we're gonna have a lot more fun with Low Key Loud podcast. So, okay, you guys, I'm going to get something to eat. I didn't get to finish my brandy. I'm sorry. I'm celebrating a little bit tonight. I deserve it, as well as my family. You guys deserve it too. I love my family. I love you kids. Shout out to to Yayo. Shout out to my butterfly, my caterpillar. And Quito. Shout out to y'all. Y'all have really been my saving grace throughout this, and now that I'm a little stronger, it's my turn. I know I've been there for you guys as much as I could, and I thank you for understanding. But I'm always here, regardless. Hey, oh yeah, my butterfly says, "Hey, Mama, hey." Oh, okay, Moody, we in there. It's fitting to go down low key. Yes, boo. Yes, boo. Oh, yeah. And Tina says, and do. I love y'all. I kind of needed this. I just kind of needed to, get some stuff out and talk about things. Oh, Kay says, what I missed, girl. You missed like a whole hour. A whole hour. But I know you had to take care of my Nana baby. You got to take care of business. I get it. No worries. It's going to be there for you to look back. But Kay, what I was saying is I kind of wanted some input, and Moody, and even Tina, I wanted some input on, because that I'm Moody said, girl. So I just wanted some input. Now I'm not saying that I feel guilty for feeling the way I do, but it's just, and I kind of ruled out that the forgiveness right now, because I know I need work on that, because forgiveness isn't saying I forgive you, but then you have your bad day and you're still like, and you still want this to happen and that to happen. So I'm grateful that Antoine got on the stage. And as I was saying earlier, Kay, I'm grateful because, it was kind of said in the courtroom, without his testimony, things could have went a little differently. Now, it's not saying that the case would have been closed. They had too much evidence for that. I think what I'm saying is that it would have been more difficult. It may have even gone a little bit longer, or it could have ended up where not all of them were convicted. And like I said earlier, for me, I think it was supposed to happen that way, because the conviction of all three, the time that they got in the timely manner that they got, is what I needed. And I think is what Malik wanted. So, yeah, but I'm still, now the forgiveness on the other two, I'm keeping it a buck, y'all. That's going to be a lot of work for me, a lot. But the important thing is that I pray about it and I'm working on it, because just like Dr. Adia said, that debt on all three of them, it doesn't belong to me or us. We got to give that debt back to that person and back to God, and let that person settle that debt with God. So I keep telling myself, and I just, as each day goes, but that's what, it was about. So yeah, that was it. So we kind of ran over a little bit, but again, I kind of needed to get that out. So I appreciate everybody coming in, listening to me, participating, what have you. I really do appreciate it. So we'll be back. Grieving Mother's Journey, August 24th, 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Gone but not forgotten. Then we'll be back again August 27th from 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Low Key Loud podcast. All right, y'all. I love you. Have a wonderful day, y'all. Hey, Julissa. I'm sorry, mamas. Thank you for joining. We're about to close up because I've been running my mouth for a little bit over an hour now. But I appreciate you coming in. When you get a minute, go ahead and watch this from the beginning. Gave you a good shout out. Love you too, Sissy, so much. Next time, Sissy, you better call in. All right, y'all. I love you. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.